I traveled to a parallel world and became a dragon. Yet all I want is to die 800 times a day. And the more I die, the happier I get. Just because I reincarnated as a dying flood dragon, I've only got over 30 days left to live for starters. And I'm chained up at the bottom of a well. Luckily, I awakened a plot simulation system by accident. I can simulate the future just by spending energy points. And after dying in the simulation, I can even get rewards from the simulation process. To stay alive, I immediately started the first simulation of my dragon life. Day 1, I clung to life in the ancient well. Day 3, I struggled desperately, trying to break free. Day 10, I kept fighting, still trapped. Day 20, I dropped dead from exhaustion. This simulation ends. Host, please choose one of the following 3. As your reward, 20 days of survival experience, 20 days of physical training, granting flood dragon claws. Staring at the system text in front of me, my whole dragon body went numb. I'm a mighty mythical flood dragon. Yet I can't even die a natural death. But I can't give up on myself now. After pulling my mind back, I chose the 20 days of physical enhancement without hesitation. Warm currents immediately surged through my body, but they only lasted a moment before fading away. Still, I felt like I'd regained a little strength. It gave me a little more hope to break free, so I couldn't wait to start the next simulation. During the simulation, I kept struggling at first. Then I realized I'd wear myself out to death if I kept it up. So I took a day off, but on day 32, I still reached the end of my lifespan. But my roar at the moment of death made the well water boil. The strange noise caught the attention of the outside world, and I got to hear the sounds from above the well. As I stared at the system's prompt and the 3 rewards that appeared again, I quickly caught onto the key point. The sounds I heard on day 32 right before I died. At that moment, I decided to take a gamble. I chose the 32 days of survival experience. A flood of information rushed into my mind in an instant. I won the bet, because from that brief info, I found out where I came from. I must be the evil dragon suppressed by the Prime Minister Yao Guangqiao during the Ming Dynasty. And this place is the legendary Dragon Lock Well. But even now that I know everything, I still can't break free from the chains. So for now, I made up my mind to save my strength. Until the system refreshes, my simulation chances. Soon the next day came. As soon as the simulation chances refreshed, I couldn't wait to start a new simulation. This time, I changed my struggling strategy. I knew I had to get the outside world's attention to find out more useful info. So in this simulation, I didn't struggle my heart out. Instead, I roared with all my might every single day. But things didn't go as I hoped. 31 days flew by in a flash. Right before I died, I only caught a glimpse of a falling tiny camera. Staring at the system's info prompt, I couldn't help but curse out loud. This time, the system actually made my dead dragon whip one of the rewards. Damn this shitty system! Why does it keep using parts of my body as rewards every day? What the hell is its game? So I chose the second reward without a second thought. 31 days of physical enhancement. As warm currents surged through my whole body, I regained a little more strength. But even so, I knew full well that with my current power, breaking out of the Dragon Lock Well was pretty much impossible. The only thing I could do was draw the outside world's attention and get rescued. With the start of another simulation, I fought hard for 6 days in this one, but it was all for nothing. I even got injured while struggling. But because of that, on day 9, the well water stinking from my blood drew humans over. I heard voices talking above the well. Day 12. As I was regaining my strength, I suddenly felt a huge force on the chains, like someone was trying to pull me out of the well. Day 13, they pulled on the chains the whole day. When I was finally pulled up to the well's mouth, I snuck open my eyes, only to find dozens of people with heat weapons pointing right at me. Before I could even think, an intense sense of danger hit me out of nowhere. In a panic, I broke free from the chains. The people around me opened fire without a second thought. Luckily, bullets couldn't pierce my scales. I was just about to escape to freedom when a bolt of lightning struck me down in an instant, killing me on the spot. Staring at the experience from the simulation system, I was dumbfounded. This time I actually broke out of the Dragon Lock Well, but died such a meaningless death. Before I could recover from the shock, the system's prompt tone rang out again. Congratulations to the host for completing the achievement. Trapped Dragon rises to the heavens. Reward, 100 years of cultivation. The next second, a burst of white light rushed into my dragon body. My cultivation, which was only 685 years, shot up to 785 in an instant. and my weak body was suddenly filled with power. At that moment, I felt that the chains holding me could be broken with just a little effort. I was about to unleash my power and break the chains, but the memory of what just happened in the simulation calmed me down at once. I still haven't figured out why I got struck by lightning and died right after escaping the well in the simulation, whether it was a coincidence or an inevitability. So, I decided to wait for the simulation chances to refresh again and try again. After all, this world is full of weird stuff. If I rush out recklessly and get struck by lightning again, I'd die a really unjust death. Besides, after my cultivation skyrocketed, my remaining lifespan now reached 326 years. I even awakened the innate talents of water and wind control, so I'm not in a hurry to get out right now. After that, I chose the 13 days of physical enhancement from the system rewards, and then I waited quietly for the next day to come. Early the next morning, the moment the system refreshed, I chose to start the simulation without hesitation. This time I didn't hurry to break free. Day 1, I was in the ancient well, knowing nothing about what was above, but feeling the immense power in my dragon body. I shattered the chains in an instant and started to recuperate. Day 2, free from the chains, my power returned to its peak. Yet I still didn't leave the well, because I didn't know if I'd get struck by heavenly lightning if I left. Day 58, I faintly sensed something extra in the well water and the air. After inhaling it, my heart turned violent and irritable, but I still didn't fly out recklessly. Until day 66, I lost complete control. I rushed out of the well and launched indiscriminate attacks at once. Human heat weapons were useless against me. I could even summon a terrifying tornado. Just as I was wreaking havoc, a gigantic black shadow blotted out the sun and flew past, burning me to death on the spot. After watching the system simulation, I fell into silence. After laying low for 58 days, something actually appeared in the well water and air that changed my temperament completely. I lost control and attacked everything in sight, and an unknown bird even flew over and incinerated me. This future is so ridiculous, but I didn't think too much about it and immediately chose the system reward. As the 66 days of physical enhancement energy flowed into my body, I just felt my power had risen to an entirely new level, and my cultivation even increased to 296 years. That's an increase of over 500 years of cultivation all at once. I was completely shocked. At the same time, I couldn't help but wonder, what exactly was that substance that suddenly appeared in the air and well water during the simulation? Also, I didn't get struck by heavenly lightning after escaping the well in this simulation. I was really curious about the reason. Recalling the simulation, I was fine after breaking the chains on day 1. I broke free from the chains right then and there without hesitation and started to enjoy this rare moment of ease. It's just that when I think I'm even a flood dragon, I still haven't escaped the animal kingdom. A longing to transform into a true dragon fills my heart in an instant. I know full well, as long as my cultivation keeps growing, I'll turn into a real dragon someday. The only problem right now is figuring out why I got struck by lightning, knowing the only way to find the truth is to keep simulating. I start the simulation once again. This time I'm feeling pretty cocky. On the 3rd day of the simulation, as soon as night falls, I bolt right out of the well and spot a few humans wandering nearby. I lock eyes with them for a split second, sending them all running for their lives in a panic, but I don't stop them from fleeing. I just watch them go quietly. But the next second, trouble strikes again. A bolt of lightning comes crashing down from the sky. Helpless against it, I get struck dead on the spot. Simulation ends. Host may choose freely. Reward, 3 days of survival experience. 3 days of physical training, tale of a fallen flood dragon. Staring at the system text in front of me, I pick the 3 days of physical training right away and start analyzing all the clues I have. In all my previous simulations, I managed to break free 3 times. Only one of those times was after more than 60 days. When something in the world had changed, it makes me wonder if I can only leave at a specific time, and I'm also really curious why I get struck by lightning if I leave early. Only by finding these answers can I leave this dragon-locking well in peace, but with the simulator in hand, I just need to test more. I'll find the truth sooner or later. So I decide to take a nap, waiting for the simulation attempts to refresh. But just then, 2 humans show up at the well's mouth. They stare down the well and chat non-stop. Brother-in-law, do you think dragons really exist in this world? And why is it that the legendary dragons are either fighting lightning every time or falling to the ground? Could it be that dragons can't be seen by humans? If we see them, they'll get punished by heaven. When I hear those words, I'm completely stunned. A sudden realization floods my entire body, and I vaguely find the truth behind the heavenly punishment. In most of my simulations, I get struck by heavenly lightning as soon as I meet humans. The only time I didn't get hit was after 58 days when the world changed unexpectedly. Putting all these clues together, my instinct tells me this might be a curse, one that only fades after 58 days. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I know well enough. As soon as the simulation attempts refresh, I can start testing this theory, so I immediately wait for the next day to come. Early the next morning, as soon as I wake up from my sleep, I can't wait to start the simulation. But the next second, a message pops up on the system panel, leaving me dumbfounded. This damn useless system. Now that my cultivation has passed 1,000 years, each simulation costs 2 energy points to start. And the simulation points I get refreshed every day are only 2 points total. I'm furious in an instant, but I soon learn from the system that I can now gain more energy points by devouring other creatures. Well, it's not all that bad then. With my strength as a flood dragon, hunting outside will be a piece of cake. So I don't hesitate and start the simulation at once. In the simulation, I still play it safe and lay low, staying in the well for the first 6 days. On the 7th night, a storm hits. I use the rain as cover and bolt out of the well, and fly south with my wind control ability. On the 8th day, I reach a primeval forest, and kill a 5-meter-long giant snake, taking over the lake it lived in. Then I start hunting like crazy. On the 16th day, I face off against an enormous tiger. A fierce battle breaks out. To my surprise, even with my power, we end up hurting each other badly. So I spend all my time recovering in the lake until the 56th day. On the 57th day, the world changes once more. On the 66th day, I lose control again and go on an indiscriminate killing spree. But my injuries get way worse because of it. Lost in my madness, I rush out of the forest, ready to attack humans. But just then, a huge black shadow blots out the sky and flies past, incinerating me on the spot in an instant. Simulation ends. Staring at the text on the system panel, I make a mental note of that black shadow. When I got killed the first time, I thought it was just a coincidence. But after getting killed again, I know there's more to it. But what I can't figure out is, what kind of grudge does it have against me? Why is that feathered freak always coming for me? But this also teaches me one thing. Even as a legendary creature, in this world, there are still plenty of beings that can kill me. Only by getting stronger and stronger can I stay invincible. So I immediately choose the 66 days of physical training. And this boosts my cultivation to 1,400 years in an instant. This simulation also makes me realize, after the world changes, a lot of creatures go insane. But that tiger didn't. So I know I have to get to the bottom of why that is. Time passes quickly. A new day dawns. With my simulation attempts refreshed, I start the simulation once again. In this simulation, on the first day, I use my water and wind control abilities to conjure a heavy rain over a 10-kilometer radius and break free successfully under the cover of the rain. On the second day, after killing the giant snake in the lake, I start cultivating in seclusion by the lake. Hard work pays off. Finally, on the 52nd day, I master the ability to stir up storms and waves. On the 56th day, the anomaly arrives right on time. On the 65th day, I go insane and get killed by that feathered freak. This simulation ends. Please choose one of the following 4 options. 65 days of survival experience, 65 days of physical training, insane pattern dragon's gallbladder ability, stir up storms and waves. Seeing the rewards the system offers, I don't hesitate for a second, picking the ability to stir up storms and waves right away. As a flash of white system light passes over me, I not only master the new ability, but also get a piece of information from it. As a flood dragon, once my cultivation reaches 3,000 years, and my ability is strong enough to conjure a great flood, I can follow the flood into the ocean, then undergo the heavenly tribulation and transform into a true dragon. I'm over the moon when I learn all this. And with the simulation system in hand, this might just become a reality. On the contrary, having been stuck in this dragon-locking well for so long, I really don't want to stay here any longer. So after a moment of thought, I decide to leave right now. As soon as the thought crosses my mind, a heavy rain starts falling over a 30-li radius at once, and under the cover of the rain, I fly south successfully. As a flood dragon, I have a natural affinity for water. This heavy rain makes me feel incredible. But when I spot the primeval forest from the simulation, I rush right in without a second thought. In an instant, all the animals on the forest's outskirts are spooked, but I don't chase after them. Instead, I head for the lake I lived in during the simulation and kill the giant snake using the tactics it's familiar with, becoming the new ruler of the lake. Now that I have a dragon's lair, I immediately get a wicked idea. Staring at the wild boar drinking water not far away, I grin from ear to ear. Little piggy, Grandpa's coming for you. The wild boar that was just drinking water. Suddenly a sense of danger washed over from the water. Instinct made it want to run away. But before it could even take a step, I pounced like a vicious dragon in an instant, biting that wild boar tight in my mouth right away. Then I whipped my tail like a divine dragon and darted back into the lake at once. Gained 0.05 simulation points by devouring wild boar meat. Gained 0.1 simulation points. Chowing down on the boar to the system jingle? This feeling made me pat myself on the back for sure. As I devoured the entire wild boar in one go, my system's simulation points went up by a solid 2. Gotta say, I can start another simulation again. It feels freaking awesome to go on another spree. After summing up the lessons from my previous simulations, I knew the top priority was to figure out the world's changes coming in 57 days. So I started the simulation without a second thought. This time, for my simulated self, I made a reckless brute's plan. So my simulated self left the lake on the first day and began exploring the primeval forest. On the second day, being the brute I was, I found there was basically no one who could stand against me in this forest. I became the top predator of the forest food chain. I kept exploring for the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th days, but found absolutely nothing the whole time. Until the 9th day, after finishing my day's exploration, I was about to head back to the lake when I spotted a bunch of large beasts on the way. They were all heading for the forest's outskirts without exception. That caught my attention right away. To find out what was going on, I snuck up into the clouds quietly and tailed these beasts to the forest's edge. By then, all the fierce beasts were gathered around an ancient tree, waiting for something, it seemed, and that's how I uncovered the ancient tree's secret. This was an ancient tree that bore a spiritual flower. After waiting another 5 days, as soon as the 14th day arrived, a glowing fruit grew from the spiritual flower. The moment the spiritual fruit appeared, it immediately sparked a scramble among the surrounding beasts. But being a master of lying in wait, why would I do such a thankless task? So it wasn't until a huge tiger drove off all the other beasts that I slowly descended from the clouds. I recognized it right away. This was the very tiger that had fought me to a draw in a previous simulation. Just thinking about how powerful it was, I knew this glowing spiritual fruit must be something special. I figured it must have eaten this fruit before. That's how it got strong enough to fight me. Once I realized that, I charged straight at it without hesitation. The tiger, not having eaten the fruit yet, was no match for me at all. I took it down without breaking a sweat. Then I swallowed the spiritual fruit in one bite. The second the fruit touched my tongue, I instantly felt a strange surge of energy burst forth in my body, boosting my cultivation drastically on the spot. After eating the fruit, I spent the following days cultivating in the lake. Time flew by in the blink of an eye. By the 56th day, I comprehended a new innate skill, summon wind and rain. And my body had grown to 30 meters long by then. On the 57th day, the anomaly came again. But unlike the previous times, I didn't go crazy. Instead, the new substance in the air made me feel an incredible rush. Even my strength was growing constantly. In the next few days, I kept getting used to my boosted strength. But on the 66th day, something unexpected happened. As the moon in the sky turned blood red, I suddenly felt a strange force calling out to me, making me fly towards the moon against my will. But just then, that enormous black shadow blotted out the sky again and flew past, incinerating me on the spot in an instant. Simulation ended. Please choose one of the following 4 options. 66 days of survival experience, 66 days of physique enhancement, Dragon Emperor with dragon patterns. Staring at the information on the system screen, I ground my teeth so hard I thought they'd crack. If I ever get my hands on that damn feathered freak, I'll make it know just how big a kun is, needing 2 barbecue grills to cook it. After forcing down my anger, I decisively claimed the innate skill, Summon Wind and Rain, from the system. As a white light washed over my dragon head, the way to use this skill came to me, along with a message: the dragon's intense hatred for humans. Feeling the negative emotions in it, I couldn't help but think of the legend from the Hongwu era of the Ming Dynasty. Emperor Zhu Yuanzhang had a nightmare, dreaming that his dynasty would be overthrown. So he sent Liu Bowen to find all the dragon veins in the world and cut them all off. to prevent any other true dragon emperors from being born, but Liu Bowen left one dragon vein intact in the end. And it was on this very dragon vein that a foreign dynasty was born, which eventually overthrew the Ming dynasty. Perhaps it was precisely because the dragon veins were cut that the entire dragon clan began to hate humans. But since my cultivation was still low now, I didn't think too much about it. Instead, thinking about that feathered freak who'd killed me time and again, I knew my strength was still far too weak. In this world, there were still way too many beings that could threaten me. To boost my strength as fast as possible, I left the lake and went hunting outside right away. A few hours later, I flew back with 2 more wild boars in my mouth. But due to the system's restrictions, even after chowing down on both wild boars this time, I only got a total of 0.2 simulation points in the end. That's when I realized, for any kind of animal, you only get a big boost of simulation points the first time you eat it. Just as I was wondering if I should go hunting again, my daily simulation points refreshed the next day. Knowing my situation clearly now, I quickly made a new simulation plan. Unlike last time, this time I didn't explore the forest. Instead, I headed into the mountains on the outskirts. But after searching around, I still found nothing. So on the 12th day, I hurried back to the forest and went straight to the ancient tree. Then, I showed off my massive muscles in front of everyone. After driving all the beasts away, I swallowed the spiritual fruit right away. Then I headed to the mountains to explore once more. Damn it, I must have had bad luck following me. I ran into humans while exploring on the 28th day. Then I was struck by endless thunderbolts, turning into nothing but ash in an instant. Staring at the system message, I just thought this was ridiculous. Ridiculousness walking through the door. Totally off the charts. Then I chose the 28 days of physique enhancement, and my cultivation rose once again. My original 8 or 9 meter body grew to over 30 meters in an instant. To get more chances to simulate, I left the lake again to go hunt for food. Having learned my lesson last time, this time I only caught one of each kind of animal. After working my tail off for a whole day, my simulation points finally hit 32, just as I got back to the lake. Ready to start a new round of simulation. A giant turtle 2 or 3 meters long caught my eye. Looking at its huge body, saliva dripped from my mouth involuntarily. Instinct made me swim straight for it. But just as I was about to swallow it in one bite, something unexpected happened. The giant turtle seemed to sense my killing intent. Its slow and leisurely pace vanished in an instant. It burst out with an insane speed in the blink of an eye, disappearing from my sight in a flash. At that moment, I knew this turtle was definitely no ordinary one, but I chose not to chase it. After all, one more simulation, and I'd even know what color its underwear was. So I started the simulation right away. As the system prompt sounded, I set out to find the giant turtle with a clear goal on the first day. But days passed, and I found no trace of it at all. On the 12th day, after swallowing the spiritual fruit, I went back to the lake and kept searching. Till the 13th hour, I unleashed my power to summon wind and rain, and doused the entire forest real good. It was that day I spotted a turtle's trail. Just as I was about to feast on it, the turtle suddenly clung to my leg, begging for its life. After thinking it over, I agreed to its plea. After all, it was the first time I'd met a creature that could talk to me since I rebirthed. The road to being a strong one is long. Kinda sad to be all alone out here, and the turtle didn't let me down. While I was cultivating, it helped me tame a bunch of mindless water creatures. But good times didn't last long, because I flooded the forest a while back. I drew human drones here. Before I could even run away, the drone captured my image. Then a thunderbolt struck right after, and fried me on the spot. Watching myself get zapped to death by humans again, I was so pissed I could scream. Damn humans. They've got nothing better to do. Why send those damn drones for no reason? After ranting a bit, I just chose the 15 days of survival experience. As the memories of those 15 days in the simulation flooded in, I found out where the old turtle's lair was. Ha ha ha, you old coot. Nowhere to run this time. On the other side, the old turtle was swimming leisurely in its cave, having cultivated for 1,000 years. It was wondering if it should move out. No idea what wind blew. That damn bully flood dragon here to this little lake, as the old turtle thought. It kept cursing under its breath. It didn't notice at all, a giant beast approaching it. When it finally sensed something was wrong, I was already in front of it. My sudden appearance scared the hell out of it, and seeing I was ready to eat it, the old turtle begged for mercy right away. But I just stared at it silently. With my current strength, I could end this in an instant. Mercy, Lord Dragon. I've worked 1,000 years to cultivate. It's not easy. I never meant to offend you. Please spare my life, Lord Dragon. Hearing the old turtle's pleas, I couldn't help but rant in my head. Begging for mercy with cultivating is hard. That's such a load of crap. Totally ridiculous. But to be fair, I didn't really plan to kill it anyway. Swear allegiance to me and I'll spare you. I said it without hesitation. The old turtle agreed at once, scared I'd swallow it if it hesitated even a second. After taking the old turtle back to my usual spot, it immediately offered to tame all the water creatures in the lake for me. I didn't turn it down and focused on the simulation once again. The world will change in 55 days. I have to hurry and get stronger. So I pushed all other thoughts aside and dived right into the system simulation to get more useful info. This time I went all out in the simulation. Day 1 of the simulation. The old turtle tamed all water creatures in the lake and made them all obey my orders. Day 2. I planned to send all water creatures that could go on land to explore the mountains. But the old turtle stopped me. After the old turtle talked me out of it, I had a change of heart. I decided to lay low and wait a few more days. Day 3. You're still cultivating in the lake. Day 4. You're still cultivating in the lake. Day 5. You're still cultivating in the lake. Looking at the words on the simulation system, I just wanted to curse. But then I thought, if the old turtle talked me out of it in real life, I'd probably end up laying low just like in the simulation. Once I realized that, most of my anger faded away, but the simulation kept going. Day 9. You're still in the lake, just resting. Day 10. You're still in the lake, just resting. Day 12. You learn the ancient tree fruit is about to ripen, so you plan to leave the lake, but run into the old turtle on the way. So you order it without hesitation to lead all water creatures that can go on land, to seize the ancient tree fruit. Then, to the shock of all the fierce beasts around, you lead the water creatures and crush everything in your way, and seize the spirit fruit without breaking a sweat. But just as you're about to explore the mountains around, the old turtle talks you out of it again. With no choice, you go back to cultivating in the lake, and you keep at it for over 20 days. Watching the simulation right now, my face turns black as night. This damn turtle is ruining everything for me, and there's nothing I can do about it. I can only watch the simulation go on. Day 55 arrives right on time. You feel your bloodline stirring with joy once again, but the old turtle is filled with unexplained rage. Even though you know why, there's nothing you can do. You just tell the old turtle to hold it in. Day 63. All water creatures in the lake lose control. You're about to teach these brats a lesson, but you're shocked to find the old turtle, out of fear of you, has forcefully suppressed its rage. You can't help but admire it for that. Day 64, you feel the call of the red moon. You want to leave the lake, but your subordinate, the old turtle, talks you out of it just in time. You choose to lay low and stay put once again. Day 76, you're still cultivating in the lake, but a 9-tailed fox shows up at the lake and asks you why you haven't answered the call of the Kunlun monster spirits to attack the human cities. You see this and tell it straight you have no idea what Kunlun monster spirits it's talking about, and tell it to leave you alone. But just then, the 9-tailed fox suddenly stabs you in the back. You get hurt, caught off guard. Enraged, you fight back at once. But after a fierce battle, injured as you are, you're no match for the 9-tailed fox. Just as you're about to flee back into the water again, a giant black shadow blots out the sun and flies over, and incinerates you and the 9-tailed fox on the spot. Simulation end. Please choose one of the following 3 options. 76 days of survival experience. 76 days of physical enhancement. Dragon blood of a dying flood dragon. Watching myself get pecked to death by that damn bird again, I immediately cursed its entire family, all the way up to its great-great-grandparents. But this simulation still took me by surprise. I actually lived for 76 days. And I also found out some interesting things, like that 9-tailed fox and the Kunlun monster order it mentioned. Could it be that all monsters will attack human cities in over 60 days, and those who don't will be eliminated? This simulation left me with a lot of questions. But for now, as long as humans don't see me, I'm basically safe. So the top priority is still to keep getting stronger. As I choose the 76 days of physical enhancement, a familiar warm current surges through my body out of nowhere, and my cultivation immediately jumps to over 1,800 years. I'm getting closer and closer to transforming into a dragon at 3,000 years, and that's basically just 2 more simulations away. But I didn't start another simulation right away. I planned to teach that old turtle a lesson first. This turtle is such a coward. It's not enough that it lays low all the time. It has to drag me down with it too. I have to get this old turtle to change its ways somehow. As I thought this, I soon appeared in front of the old turtle. But when I tried to reason with it, the old turtle just denied everything. Lord Dragon, what cowardice. There's no coward here in the water. If there really was a coward bothering you, Lord Dragon, this old turtle will avenge you for sure. I'll never hide behind you like a coward. Watching the old turtle act all unrepentant, I was so mad I almost whacked it to death with my tail. This damn old turtle. It's even more of a coward than I am. How dare you say you're not a coward? Being a coward is one thing, but not admitting it is another. I plan to explore the great mountain beyond the forest with the old turtle. What do you think? I stared at the old turtle and said coldly. The old turtle was instantly scared out of its wits when it heard that, and began to persuade me earnestly and righteously. Your territory is already vast enough, Dragon Lord. There's no need to expand further outward. Besides, only you and I practice cultivation these days. If the territory is too big, no one can guard it at all. Listening to the old turtle's words, I just felt speechless. It's like taking one step outside would cost this old turtle its life. The old turtle sensed my displeasure too, and hastily said again, Dragon Lord, do you know how I went from a tiny turtle to where I am today through cultivation? I scoffed and said, coward, duh. But the old turtle retorted earnestly, how can this be called cowardice? This is staying out of worldly affairs and focusing on cultivation wholeheartedly. I, the old turtle, have cultivated for 1,000 years. I've outlived countless ferocious beasts that sought to harm me. As long as you live long enough, what does it matter how strong your enemies are? I stood opposite it, listening to the old turtle's quibbling, and I realized there's no way I can change this old bastard's mind, so I just gave up the thought altogether and changed the subject to something else. Old turtle, you've cultivated for so long. Have you heard any interesting stories? It seemed I'd hit a spot the old turtle was interested in. The old turtle, who'd been taciturn all along, suddenly started talking a mile a minute, telling me all sorts of random stuff. Most of it was useless nonsense. But I still managed to pick up some useful information from it. During the Hongwu reign of the human race, it seemed the heaven and earth underwent a change. For a time, cultivation became much easier for demons. But it all went back to normal later. After piecing together some of the previous intelligence, I felt there must be a real secret behind the demons attacking human cities. To get to the bottom of all this, I returned to my abode once more and started the simulation again. This time I changed my approach in the simulation, because I realized maybe the old turtle was right after all. If I just lay low long enough, I might uncover some secrets without even stepping out. As the system prompt sounded, a new round of simulation officially began. Day 1, I focused on laying low and continued cultivating in the lake. Day 2, I stuck to the low-key mindset, still cultivating in the lake. Day 11, I knew the ancient tree fruit was about to ripen, but being the low-key type, I didn't want to go in person. So under my pressure, the old turtle had no choice but to lead the lake's aquatic creatures to fight for it. With the old turtle's 1,000 years of cultivation, the forest beast stood no chance at all, and soon brought the spiritual fruit back to me. Day 22, I was still cultivating in the lake. Day 54, the anomaly arrived right on time. I turned a deaf ear to it, and kept cultivating in the lake. Day 62, the aquatic creatures rebelled. All of them except the old turtle were killed by me. Day 75, a 9-tailed fox came to the lake to find me, but I pretended not to hear it, and kept cultivating in the lake. Seeing this, the enraged 9-tailed fox finally chose to leave. Looking at the words on the system panel, I suddenly thought how wise my choice of the steady path was, so I became even more determined to lay low until I'm invincible, then leave the lake. Day 80, I was still resting in the lake, but it was on this very day, I suddenly felt a powerful summoning force. Then, as if my mind was being controlled, I flew out of the lake involuntarily, and then I saw a shocking sight. A towering giant with trunks like pillars, supporting the sky like a celestial pillar. While I was still in shock, a huge shadow blotted out the sun and flew past, incinerating me on the spot in an instant. Simulation ended. Please choose one of the following 3 options. 80 days of survival experience, 80 days of physical fitness, dragon whisker of a dying flood dragon. Staring at the system panel, I was completely confused right now. I hadn't even figured out the previous questions. And now there's an added pillar supporting the sky. What the hell is all this? Even though I was extremely helpless, I quickly pulled myself together and resolutely chose the 80 days of physical fitness. As the system reward was successfully issued, my cultivation base rose to 1,185 years once again. But this also made me vaguely feel that I'd hit a bottleneck, and even if I chose to lay low to the extreme, I'd still be controlled after 80 days, and ultimately killed by that damn bird. Come to think of it, the reason I can barely survive in the simulations, 99% of it is because of that damn bird. If I can take down that damn bird, can I then survive in the simulation? The moment the thought crossed my mind, a cold killing intent flashed in my eyes instantly. No sooner said than done. I immediately started the simulation again. Consumed 2 simulation points. Remaining simulation points, 26. Day 1. Despite the old turtle's desperate attempts to dissuade me, I went into the forest to fight the fierce beasts. Day 2. I found my combat power was enough to dominate the forest. With no other choice, I planned to leave the forest. The old turtle immediately tried to dissuade me when it heard that, but the killing intent in my heart still overpowered the fighting spirit. Left with no option, the old turtle chose to leave with me. I was shocked to see this. I never thought this old turtle that's laid low for eternity would actually leave with me. Day 3, the old turtle and I summoned wind and rain all the way, concealing our auras. Under the old turtle's guidance, we got lost successfully. In a daze, I wandered into a human city. Discovered by humans, I had no time to escape, and was instantly killed by a bolt of heavenly thunder. I died again. Please choose one of the following 3 rewards. 3 days of survival experience, 3 days of physical fitness, resentment of a dying flood dragon. Staring at the system panel, I never thought that the 2 of us, great demons with 1,000 years of cultivation, would actually get lost. This led me to a conclusion that this cowardly old turtle is totally unreliable. I can't take the old turtle with me in the next simulation. After claiming the 3 days of physical fitness, I started the simulation once more. This time, I chose not to tell the old turtle, but snuck out of the lake quietly and began flying eastward. All the way, I still summoned wind and rain and concealed my aura. On day 9, I successfully entered a grassland and landed after spotting an unnamed great mountain. Day 10, I found a mountain temple, but the one inside wasn't a mountain god. It was a monkey. Day 11, I found a lake in the unnamed great mountain and successfully took control of it. Day 12, I went to the vicinity of the mountain temple to observe, but still found nothing. Day 26, I came as usual, to the vicinity of the mountain temple, and it was on this day that I spotted a little golden monkey. Feeling the cultivation aura emanating from the little monkey, I excitedly charged forward, ready for a fight. But my sudden appearance scared the little monkey half to death on the spot. The monkey even straight up said it was a total weakling. With only 300 years of cultivation, it stood no chance against me at all. However, I also learned a piece of news from the monkey that if I keep going east, there would be a huge mountain range, with many terrifying great demons living there. Day 32, I continued flying east, until day 33. I finally saw a vast mountain range. A small sun hung high above the giant mountains, and in the west, another sun was rising as well. 2 suns in the sky. This strange sight made me sense something was wrong. While I was in a daze, a feather suddenly shot out from the sun above the giant mountains. A feather brushed against me, burned me to death. Simulation ended. Choose one of the following 4 options. 33 days of survival experience, 33 days of physical prowess, grilled flood dragon meat and feathers of an unknown creature, dead just like that. 2 suns in the sky. I froze for a second. I died for no reason this time. A feather flew out of the sun and incinerated me. What the hell? I stared at the last of the 4 options. Feathers of an unknown creature. I hesitated a little and picked this one. Might be some kind of treasure. As I made my choice, a black feather appeared in front of me. The moment it showed up, the lake water all around started boiling. The temperature spiked in an instant. Even I could feel the scorching heat. Had to step back a ways. What kind of creature's feather is this? I looked into the distance. At that black feather floating at the lake bottom, a single feather can make the lake boil. Black feather. Bird of the sun. A thought suddenly crossed my mind. Golden crow. Could this feather really be from a golden crow? But this isn't a fairy tale, for crying out loud. Where the hell would a golden crow come from? Jijeng zoned out as he thought. Wait a minute, there are no flood dragons in real life either. If flood dragons can exist, why can't a golden crow? Could that really be a golden crow? Forget it, who cares if it is or not? What do I do with this feather? Jijing lurked in the outskirts. Staring at the black feather before him, he could feel it. This feather was affecting the entire lake more and more. If I don't do something about it, all the aquatic creatures in the lake will end up cooked alive. But how? Swallow it whole. Might as well give it a shot. Better run a simulation first, though. I dare not be this reckless in a real fight. By the forest lake, many animals drinking by the bank could clearly feel it. The water in their mouths turned warm. It left many of them confused, but they didn't react much. Just kept drinking. The ones on the bank didn't mind, but the ones in the lake were panicking. All the aquatic beings felt like they were about to be steamed alive. But under the old turtle's rule, they didn't dare to stir up trouble. They could only wait in despair. Even the old turtle at the lake bottom was in a panic. He hated the heat too. He was scared of being steamed alive too. So he went straight to find Jijung to ask what was going on, but Jijung had no time for the old turtle. Told him to go keep the aquatic creatures in line, his pair of sharp dragon eyes fixed on the black feather ahead. He wanted to try what would happen if he swallowed the black feather whole. Of course, he dared not try it himself. So he decided to test it with a simulation. Simulation activated, consuming 2 simulation points. 22 simulation points remaining. Day 1, you are in the lake. You stare at the black feather before you. After much hesitation, you swallow it whole. The fiery energy within the feather incinerates all your internal organs. You died, simulation ended, please. Choose one of the following 3 options. 1 day of survival experience. 1 day of physical prowess. Grilled dragon meat. Jizeng tried swallowing it whole. Died instantly, just like that. Scared him into stepping back a ways. Afraid the feather had some trick up its sleeve that would burn him to death. This isn't a simulation. If he dies here, he's gone for good. Can't swallow it, so what do I do with this feather? Should have never picked this feather. This is such a hassle. Jizeng felt a headache coming on. What if I just leave it be and see what happens? Let's try it, he refused to believe. He couldn't even handle a single feather. Jizeng silently activated the simulation again. Simulation activated, consuming 2 simulation points. 20 simulation points remaining. Day 1, you are in the lake. You stare at the black feather before you. You hesitate for a long time and choose to leave it be. You cultivate in the lake. Day 2, you continue cultivating in the lake. The lake water keeps getting hotter and hotter, but the temperature doesn't bother you. Day 3, you keep cultivating in the lake. The lake water grows even hotter, but your flood dragon body shrugs it off easily. Yet the aquatic creatures in the lake are barely holding on. Day 4, you cultivate in the lake. The lake water has become extremely hot. The aquatic creatures can't take it anymore. Your subordinate, the old turtle, comes to you in person to report. When you see a river shrimp half red and half raw, you fall silent. In the end, you choose to create another lake. Using your flood dragon power, you sink the ground next to the lake. You summon wind and rain to fill the new lake with water. For the aquatic creatures to live in, you return to the lake with the feather to keep cultivating. Day 5, you continue cultivating in the lake. The lake water keeps getting hotter. Day 10, you cultivate in the lake. The lake water grows even hotter, but your flood dragon body fears no boiling water. Day 11, you learn the ancient tree fruit is about to ripen. You leave the lake. To seize the ancient tree fruit, you swallow the ancient tree fruit whole. You feel your power surge dramatically. You're astonished, realizing the lake's extreme heat has been tempering your body. Your body has been enhanced, allowing you to absorb the ancient tree fruit perfectly. You return to the lake and keep cultivating. Day 27, you continue cultivating in the lake. You can clearly feel the scalding lake water, strengthening your body. You're overjoyed. Never thought the feather had this effect. Holy crap, the feather can do this. Strengthen the body, which in turn boosts his power. Jizeng let out a sigh of relief. At least he finally figured out what the feather does. The simulation continues. Day 54, you cultivate in the lake. You sense something different in the lake water and air. After inhaling the lake water and air, you feel your bloodline stirring, thrilling with excitement as the lake water grows even hotter. It's starting to feel scorching even to you. Day 55, you cultivate in the lake. The blistering lake water and the changes in the world. Make your cultivation progress by leaps and bounds, advancing at lightning speed. Day 62, you cultivate in the lake. The entire forest descends into chaos. You pay it no mind. You keep cultivating. Day 63, you cultivate in the lake. You feel a calling from the sky. With your current power, you can easily suppress the calling You ignore the outside world and keep cultivating. Day 75, you continue cultivating in the lake. But by the lake bank, a nine-tailed fox comes to find you. You pretend not to hear and keep cultivating in the lake. The nine-tailed fox was about to leave, but upon seeing the blistering hot lake, it seemed to notice something and attacked the center of the lake. Fearing the black feather would be damaged, you have no choice but to show yourself. The nine-tailed fox asks you why you ignored the Kunlun monster order. To attack the human cities? You don't answer at all and launch an attack on the nine-tailed fox. Caught off guard by your sudden attack, the nine-tailed fox is shocked and hurries to fight back. You're not the same as you used to be. Your cultivation has skyrocketed after the lake's baptism. You slayed the nine-tailed fox in just a few dozen minutes. He killed that nine-tailed fox. In the previous simulation, he was losing to this nine-tailed fox, and now he actually killed it. Jijeng was a little surprised, but he totally get it. When he first met this nine-tailed fox in the simulation, his cultivation was about 1/800 years. Now after the lake's baptism, he must have broken through 2,000 years long ago. It makes sense he took down the nine-tailed fox. After you killed the nine-tailed fox, you suddenly felt a threatening aura from the sky. You looked up and saw a huge black shadow blitzing across the sky. You recognized it? Feeling your power surge, you flew up to the sky to taunt it. The next second, the black shadow flew over and incinerated you. You died. The simulation ends. Please choose one of the following 3 options. 75 days of survival experience. 75 days of frail physique tempering. He got cocky. That mangy bird didn't even notice him, and he went up there and died for no reason. Jizeng suddenly felt his heart of the Tao waver. He actually got cocky because his power surged, and went to pick a fight and got himself killed. That's so not like him. What kind of power could make him this cocky? Jizeng muttered to himself and chose the second option. As soon as the cultivation from the second option kicked in, he knew exactly why he got cocky. Current cultivation, 2432 years. A low, ox-like roar echoed from the lake. It sounded like an ox's bellow, but anyone who heard it would know it wasn't. The deep, primeval aura mixed in the sound. Was nothing an ox could produce? At the bottom of the lake, a flood dragon over 30 meters long twisted its body. A terrifying pressure emanated from its massive form. Who wouldn't get cocky with this kind of power? Jizeng felt his newfound power and thought his cockiness in the simulation was totally justified. He felt like right now, he could totally take on that mangy bird, but it was just a thought. The simulation had made it crystal clear. If he faced that mangy bird, it would peck him to death in one strike. Over 2,000 years of cultivation couldn't even last 2 moves against that bird. Did he really have to transform into a dragon to fight it? Better steady my heart of the Tao first. Jizeng thought he needed to steady his heart of the Tao. His path of steady prudence couldn't afford any mistakes. The surging power in his body had made him arrogant. Jizeng immediately called for his subordinate, the old turtle. After a heartfelt talk with him, his heart of the Tao stabilized in an instant. With his heart of the Tao steady, Jizeng let the dumbfounded old turtle leave. He guessed the old turtle was shocked by his cultivation. Jizeng stayed where he was, watching the old turtles retreating back. This old turtle was actually pretty useful. With him around, I won't get cocky easily. For the first time, Jizeng thought the old turtle was a great help. Maybe in the next simulations, he could let the old turtle stay by his side. That way he wouldn't die in the simulations, because of his own arrogance. Having the old turtle by my side. Why does it feel more and more like having a turtle prime minister? Am I gonna get shrimp soldiers and crab generals next? Or a sea patrol yaksha? Am I even gonna proclaim myself the Dragon King? Jizeng shook his head. I haven't even started to transform into a dragon yet. Right now I'm just a small demon at best. I'd get one shot by those real big demons. I need to keep honing myself. Strengthen my own strength, only with great power. Can I figure out all these things? During the Hongwu era, the heaven and earth changed, but returned to normal in the end. Lu Bowen slew the dragons. Yao Guangxiao sealed the dragons. Dragons shall not be trapped. The heaven and earth changes. In 54 days, the Kunlun demon order. He needed to become stronger to investigate all these things. Jizeng suddenly froze. Maybe he could figure out the Kunlun demon order right now. That nine-tailed fox was no match for him. He could get the truth about the Kunlun demon order. Out of the nine-tailed fox's mouth, Jizeng was about to start another simulation. But considering he needed time to get used to his surging power, he decided to wait until tomorrow. Otherwise, if he got new power, before mastering this one, It would be a huge mess to handle. As soon as Ji-jung thought of this, he settled down at the bottom of the lake, closed his flood dragon eyes, and dozed off. Even a dozing flood dragon exudes immense power. No aquatic creature dared to approach. Ji-jung's surroundings. As Ji-jung's cultivation grew higher and higher, his aura became more and more oppressive. Ordinary aquatic creatures would collapse to the ground, just getting close to him. Let alone getting near. That's why he could doze off so safely. There was no one left in this forest who could threaten him. Ji-jung was dozing off, unaware that time was passing by minute by minute. In the blink of an eye, 6 days passed. During these 6 days, the system's notifications kept ringing, but Ji-jung, who was busy mastering his power, didn't notice a single one. When Ji-jung finally noticed, he realized 6 days had gone by. He almost yelled out in panic. For him, time was extremely precious. He had unknowingly wasted 6 days, which meant the martial fruit would ripen in 5 days, and the heaven and earth would change in 48 days. Time was running out even faster. Ji-jung started to panic, but he quickly calmed down. Even though he wasted 6 days, he had gained a lot. He had mastered the power in his body, which would greatly boost his combat power. Start simulation. Ji-jung tried to start the simulation, but before he could, a figure came rushing over, spinning like a propeller, and stopped right beside him. Dragon Lord, you can't rest any longer. The figure was none other than the old turtle. What's wrong? Ji-jung stayed where he was. As soon as he asked, it hit him. 6 whole days had passed. He remembered in the simulation, the black feather kept emitting energy. The aquatic creatures in the lake were barely holding on by the 4th day, and now it's the 6th day. I'm afraid many aquatic creatures in the lake have already suffered. How many aquatic creatures are left in the lake? Ji-jung asked in a hurry. These aquatic creatures were technically his subordinates. If they all died, it would be so embarrassing. Dragon Lord, that's exactly why I'm here. Dragon Lord, that feather in front of you is way too hot. The aquatic creatures in the lake can barely take it anymore. If this goes on, not even I, the old turtle, can protect them, the old turtle said with a bitter face. Even though he was a turtle, Ji-jung could still see the worry on his turtle face. Like a troubled woman. What? You protected the aquatic creatures in the lake. Ji-jung was stunned. After he asked, the old turtle slowly explained. On the 4th day, the old turtle had come to find Ji-jung, but he couldn't wake him up no matter what. Afraid the aquatic creatures would be cooked to death, and that he'd be blamed when Ji-jung woke up. He had no choice but to use his own cultivation to protect them. Ji-jung fell silent instantly. This old turtle is really such a turtle. He never uses his skills unless he's pushed to the edge. He'd never seen the old turtle use this trick in the simulations. Ji-jung quickly snapped out of it. He didn't dwell on it, and rushed out of the lake in an instant. Using his flood dragon power, he smashed a spot not far from the lake. Then he cast a spell to summon wind and rain, quickly created a brand new lake. After that, Ji-jung went back to the original lake and told the old turtle to move all the aquatic creatures in the lake to the new one. He didn't care about the old turtle's resistance at all. He finally figured it out. This old turtle was also a monster. With 1,000 years of cultivation, how could it not have some real skills? It's just that the damn turtle was such a coward. It would never use its abilities unless pushed to the edge. After taking care of all this, Ji-jung returned to the bottom of the lake and made his lair there. Ready to start the simulation? Let the simulation begin. Ji-jung did it silently. As he made his choice, a screen that only he could see took shape. With words flashing on it, simulation started. 2 simulation points consumed. 30 simulation points remaining. Day 1. You are in the lake. You stare at the black feather in front of you. You choose to cultivate in the lake. The simulation has begun. If my cultivation skyrockets like it did in the last simulation, maybe I can transform into a dragon this time. Ji-jung watched the simulation intently. At the bottom of the lake, Ji-jung stared at the flickering screen in front of him. Simulation start. Day 1. You are in the lake. You stare at the black feather in front of you. You choose to cultivate in the lake.
Day 2. You continue to cultivate in the lake.
You try to temper your body with the lake's scorching heat, but you find that the lake's heat boosts your cultivation far less than before. You feel a little disappointed, but it's better than nothing. You still choose to keep cultivating. Ji-jung froze when he saw this. Of course, it wouldn't be this easy to transform into a dragon. The heat from the feather, was becoming less effective as his cultivation grew, had its boost already weakened this much. Relying on this to reach 3,000 years of cultivation, and then transform into a dragon, was impossible. Jijing shook his dragon head, and kept watching. If it can't boost me much anymore, then I'll go investigate those unsolved mysteries, like what the Kunlun monster order really is. I should be able to find out from that 9-tailed fox. Day 4. You cultivate in the lake. Day 5. You learn the ancient tree fruit is about to ripen, but its boost to your cultivation is already negligible. After some hesitation, you still choose to seize it. But you don't go in person. You order your subordinate, the old turtle, to lead the lake's aquatic creatures to seize the ancient tree fruit. The ancient tree fruit is easily brought to you. You swallow it whole. Your power gets a tiny boost. You continue to cultivate in the lake. Sure enough, with over 2,000 years of cultivation, it would be extremely difficult to make further progress. Even the ancient tree fruit's boost had become this tiny. Next time in the simulation, I can try giving the ancient tree fruit to the old turtle. Jijing thought to himself, the old turtle may be a bit of a coward, but it does have real skills. It's just that if you don't push it, it always pretends to be useless. I can try that in the next simulation. The simulation went on. Day 29. You cultivate in the lake. Day 48. You cultivate in the lake. You feel something different in the lake water and the air. After inhaling the lake water and air. Day 56. You cultivate in the lake. The entire forest falls into chaos. You send your subordinate, the old turtle, to deal with it, and warn it that if it fails, you'll dispose of it too. Your subordinate, the old turtle, does not let you down. It quells all the unrest in the forest completely. Seeing this, Jijing finally understood. The more pressure you put on this old turtle, the more power it unleashes. Old turtle, should I call you reliable or unreliable? Day 57, you cultivate in the lake. You feel something in the sky calling you. With your current power, you can easily suppress this calling feeling. You ignore it and keep cultivating. Day 69, you continue to cultivate in the lake. But at the lake shore, a 9-tailed fox comes to find you. You emerge to meet it. When the 9-tailed fox feels your aura, it clearly steps back a step. Your dragon's might has already reached a level that can intimidate cultivated monsters. This surprises you a little. The 9-tailed fox quickly regains its composure and asks you a question, seemingly fearing your strength. Its tone is 3 parts more polite. The 9-tailed fox asks why you haven't responded to the Kunlun monster order and attacked human cities. You don't answer. You flick your dragon tail and suppress the 9-tailed fox in one strike. With his current power, he could suppress that 9-tailed fox in a single blow. When Jisen saw this, he felt a surge of joy in his heart. He never knew how strong his combat power was. After all, he had no one to test it on. But the simulator told him he could suppress the 9-tailed fox in one strike. He thought back to the past. He'd even been at a disadvantage when fighting the 9-tailed fox. In just a few days, he'd gained the power to suppress it in one strike. Give me a little more time, and I'll definitely pin that feathered bastard to the ground and beat it to a pulp. Jijing thought to himself, you suppressed the 9-tailed fox. The 9-tailed fox is filled with fear, wondering why you attacked it. You don't care at all, and directly ask what the Kunlun monster order is. The 9-tailed fox looks utterly confused after hearing this, and asks why you've never heard of it. It explains to you that by the order of the Tianqi Lake of Kunlun Mountain, all cultivated monsters must attack human cities after the spiritual energy revival, and those who disobey will be attacked by all monsters. All monsters shall unite to strike down the defiers. The 9-tailed fox asks why you, as a local overlord, haven't responded to the order of Tianqi Lake and Kunlun Mountain. After reading this short passage, Jisheng instantly solved 2 mysteries. His huge dragon eyes stared at the mention of the Kunlun monster order. It must be an order issued by a force called Tianqi Lake in Kunlun Mountain, and the heaven and earth change on the 48th day was the spiritual energy revival. All of a sudden, Kyushin understood everything. Why there was something like the ancient tree fruit. Why so many cultivated monsters had appeared in the world. It all boiled down to the spiritual energy revival. This was the eve of the spiritual energy revival. As for why those ordinary animals, even he himself once, became violent and out of control after the spiritual energy revival, it all came down to the survival of the fittest. Only the strong survive. Animals have always had sharp senses. They must have sensed the change in heaven and earth, and then received the baptism of spiritual energy. But since it was their body's first contact with such rich spiritual energy, They couldn't digest it, so it accumulated in their bodies and eventually made them violent and out of control. But he was unaffected because he had eaten the ancient tree fruit in advance and already received the spiritual energy baptism. That's why he didn't become violent and out of control. Ji-jung figured all this out, but the simulation was still going on. He had to force down all his thoughts and choose to keep watching the simulation. Faced with the nine-tailed fox's question, you don't answer, you just let it go. Knowing you need to boost your cultivation, you return to the lake to cultivate once more. Day 70, you cultivate in the lake. Day 71, you still cultivate in the lake. Day 72, you cultivate in the lake. When you're suddenly disturbed, you find that many cultivated monsters have come to the lakeshore, including several great monsters with 3,000 years of cultivation. You realize something is wrong. You observe carefully and see it's the nine-tailed fox you let go earlier that brought all these cultivated monsters here. The nine-tailed fox states plainly that you defied the Kunlun monster order and tells all the cultivated monsters to come and kill you. Cornered by all these cultivated demons, you had no choice but to fight. Faced with so many cultivated demons, you had nowhere to run. With a single move, you took on 17 cultivated demons all at once and fought to your death in the end. After you fell in battle, your subordinate, the old turtle, bided his time and struck down the wounded ringleader, the nine-tailed fox. You died. This simulation is over. Please choose one of the following three options: 72 days of survival experience, 72 days of physical refinement, and the resentment of the flood dragon slain in battle. Ji-jung, that damn fox had some nerve. I spared your life out of kindness, and you go and get others to attack me. I really shouldn't have been merciful. Ji-jung realized this deeply. I should have killed her on the spot at the bottom of the lake. Why did I let that damn fox get away? Ji-jung kept complaining about this simulation. He really died for no reason this time. He didn't fall to that damn bird, but got ambushed by this fox instead. But seeing the end result, Ji-jung felt a little relieved. That damn fox didn't end up well either. Killed by the old turtle. This old turtle is pretty smart. He knew he'd get nothing by rushing out to help me openly, so he hid quietly and delivered a fatal blow to the fox. But the old turtle's final fate wasn't shown in the simulation, yet Ji-jung could guess. He must have been killed by those cultivated demons. This old turtle is truly loyal. Next time I really should try giving him the land of the ancient tree. After all, it doesn't do much for me now. Hardly any improvement at all. Ji-jung thought to himself. Soon, his gaze shifted to the three options: 72 days of survival experience, 72 days of physical refinement, the resentment of the slain flood dragon. These three, Ji-jung chose the second one without hesitation. A familiar warm current surged through his body, and his power grew a notch. Current cultivation, 2,523 years. Less than 100 years added. It seems the boost from this black feather is getting smaller and smaller. Ji-jung twisted his huge dragon head and stared at the black feather in the distance, lost in thought. It seems this feather won't help with his growth any longer. But this lake is still worth keeping. With the black feather here, this lake is a perfect place for cultivation. He doesn't need it. Maybe the old turtle can use it. He'd seen the old turtle's abilities and loyalty. In the simulation, if someone's worth nurturing, he'll do it. Ji-jung thought to himself, but he had no idea how to boost his cultivation quickly next. 48 days of cultivation later, spiritual energy revived. The heavenly lake of Kunlun Mountain. The forces of Heavenly Lake are hostile to humans, so they issued an order. All demons must attack humans. Maybe I can wait for the spiritual energy revival and wander near human cities to see what's going on. Ji-jung had no interest in troubling humans, but he was curious to see what human cities would be like. After the spiritual energy revival, maybe there'll be something there to make him stronger. Nah, no hurry to simulate again. Let's go check out the forest first. Ji-jung shook his huge dragon head. Ever since he emerged from the dragon locking well, he'd been pushing his strength to the limit, simulating nonstop, never taking a moment to relax. Now that he'd solved 2 mysteries, he might as well take a little break. With that thought, Ji-jung sprang into action, twisting his colossal dragon body and charging toward the lake's surface. He moved like an arrow loosed from a bow, bursting out of the water in the blink of an eye, sending countless splashes flying, an overwhelming aura spreading out in all directions. Within this aura lay a bloodline suppression. In an instant, Many animals drinking water by the other side of the lake threw themselves to the ground, daring not to move an inch. Their eyes, filled with terror, Jijing's colossal form burst out of the lake, half his body still in the water, half above it, his full size impossible to take in at a glance. That aura was emanating directly from his body. Dragon's might unleashed. Jijing glanced at the nearby animals. From his perspective, they were like little piglets. The gap between them was simply too vast, a gap in their very life levels. His aura alone was enough to freeze them in place. Jijing couldn't help but sigh. Once he'd had to hunt these animals for food, but now he didn't have to. One glare from him, and none of them dared to stir. Old Turtle, come here. Jijing let out a low, bull-like roar toward the other side of the lake. A gurgling sound rose with bubbles churning to the surface. Moments later, a giant turtle 2 or 3 meters wide surfaced. My Lord Dragon, I'm here. I'm here, the old turtle hastily chirped in response. Jijing climbed ashore. Come with me to patrol the forest. Jijing looked down at the old turtle. Patrol, my Lord Dragon. I can't go ashore. I'll die if I stay on land for too long, old turtle whined. At the thought of patrolling the forest on land, the old turtle jumped in fright, his eyes darting about. He hastily said, Will you come up on your own? Or shall I carry you up? Jijing stared silently at the old turtle. Are you kidding me? 1,000-year-old cultivated turtle that can't go ashore and will die if he stays on land too long. Who'd believe that nonsense? Jijing had long known the old turtle was a coward, but he didn't expect him to be this shameless. Saying something so ridiculous. No, my Lord Dragon. No need for you to carry me. I'll come up on my own. I'll come up on my own. Scared out of his wits, the old turtle scurried ashore. As he reached the bank, a bubble-like barrier wrapped around his body. The old turtle was miserable inside. Why did my Lord Dragon seem to know him like the back of his hand, always seeing right through his tricks? They'd only known each other for less than 10 days, all told. Yet my Lord Dragon seemed to know even what his insides looked like under his shell. Come with me to patrol the forest. Without another word, Jijing left the lake. As he stepped away from the water, he gazed up at the clear blue sky, and an urge to summon wind and rain welled up inside him, to be cleansed by a downpour. It was his nature. Jijing finally understood why people said, where a dragon goes, rain follows. For one, a true dragon is destined to bring rain. And for two, dragons simply love water. It's only natural for them to stir up wind and rain when they move. Even Jijing loved water, so much so he could barely contain the urge to summon a storm right then and there. It just showed how deep a dragon's love for water ran. Jijing didn't bother holding back. After all, there was no threat to him in the forest. He let out a roar, and gusts of wind howled in response, large black clouds drifting over in an instant. In the blink of an eye, a violent storm began to pour down. Jijing stood in the rain and marched into the forest with the old turtle in tow. He was going to patrol this forest. With his current strength, no animal in the entire forest could stand against him. Not even one could move. When he commanded them to stay still, except for the old turtle. For him, this whole forest is his territory, if he wants it to be. Any animal he lays eyes on can end up on his menu. Jijing patrolled the forest with the old turtle for a long time, and when they reached the edge of the forest, Jijing almost left his scent to mark the territory. But he thought better of it and decided to play it safe. Cultivating demons leave their scent to intimidate other cultivating demons. So once you catch a whiff of a cultivating demon's scent, you can roughly tell how strong they are. But Jijing thought it was better not to expose himself like that, so he let the old turtle leave its scent instead. If any cultivating demon dares to break in, thinking this is the territory of a 1,000-year-old cultivating turtle, and tries to bully it, he'll jump out and crush their hopes. Isn't that much safer? Of course, this was just Jijing's imagination. The simulation made it crystal clear to him no cultivating demons would come breaking in at all, except for that mangy fox. At the bottom of the lake, after patrolling the entire forest, Jijing returned to the lake bed. As soon as Jijing got back, all the animals in the forest let out a sigh of relief. No more getting caught in the rain at last. Jijing couldn't care less about that. He got back to the lake and got ready to start the simulation. This time he'd try training the old turtle. Then after the spiritual energy revives, go check near human cities if there really are demons attacking humans, if possible.
He'd better find some
Stuff that can help boost his cultivation. Jijing locked in these 2 goals right away. And then he activated the simulation. Activating the simulation cost 4 simulation points. Current remaining simulation points, 30. It went up again. Jijung froze for a second. Why this time? Because your cultivation has reached 2,500 years. Jijung knew that, of course, the amount of simulation points needed rises as his power grows, but he didn't know exactly when it would go up. But now the system was telling him, at 2,500 years of cultivation, it jumps to 4 simulation points per run. For a single simulation, this damn greedy system. Luckily, I still have some simulation points left. Still can afford to run it. Jijung was complaining furiously in his head. He thought he'd have to go hunting again sometime soon, and he'd have to hunt some animals he hadn't hunted before. While thinking this, he didn't waste any time and activated the simulation without hesitation. Simulation activated, 4 simulation points consumed. Current remaining simulation points, 26. Day 1. You are at the bottom of the lake. You stare at the black feather in front of you. You choose to cultivate in the lake.
Day 2. You continue cultivating in the lake.
You try to temper your body with the lake's extreme heat, but you find that the lake's heat barely boosts your power at all now, yet you have no other choice. You have to keep cultivating. After 2,500 years of cultivation, this black feather is practically useless. Jijung sighed helplessly. If he can't find a new way to boost his cultivation fast, then the remaining 500 years of cultivation he needs will probably take countless tries to grind through, transforming into a dragon at 3,000 years. It's really a long and arduous journey. Jijung lifted his huge scorched head and stared at himself. Simulation Day 5. You learn the ancient tree fruit is about to ripen. You send your subordinate, the old turtle, to lead the lake's aquatic creatures to seize it. The ancient tree fruit is easily seized and brought before you. You look at the ancient tree fruit in front of you and reward it to your subordinate, the old turtle. Your subordinate, the old turtle, is utterly astonished. After you confirm it several times, your subordinate, the old turtle, kowtows repeatedly in thanks and swallows the ancient tree fruit. Having swallowed the ancient tree fruit, your subordinate, the old turtle, falls into a deep sleep. You place it in the superheated lake to aid its cultivation. Day 6, you cultivate in the lake. Day 37, you cultivate in the lake. Day 48, you cultivate in the lake. You feel something different in the lake water in the air. Something new is in there. After inhaling the lake water and air, you feel your bloodline stirring, cheering with excitement. You know, the spiritual energy has revived. You almost leave the lake to go check out the human cities, but seeing the old turtle sleeping nearby, you choose to wait a few more days. Day 49. Your subordinate, the old turtle, wakes up. You ask it what changes it has undergone. Your subordinate, the old turtle, says it gained no special abilities, only a massive boost in cultivation. No special abilities, no new innate talents either, just a huge cultivation boost. Jijung froze in surprise. He remembered when he ate the ancient tree fruit for the first time. He'd gained the innate talent to summon wind and rain, but for the old turtle, it was just a big cultivation boost. It must be because of the bloodline. He was a flood dragon after all. The next step was transforming into a dragon. The old turtle's bloodline was just a regular turtle's, nothing more. And from the looks of it, it was probably just a common pond turtle, a totally ordinary bloodline. Still, a huge cultivation boost for the old turtle was a good thing. It meant his training had paid off somewhat. He just wondered if the old turtle was hiding something. That sneaky old thing. Who knew if it was telling the truth or not? Jijung thought for a moment, then let it go, and kept watching the simulation. Day 50. You intend to leave the lake, to go investigate the human cities, but the old turtle talks you out of it, reasoning with you, and reignites your resolve. You see the sense in its words, and decide a few more days of rest won't hurt. Day 57. You are cultivating in the lake. You feel something in the sky calling to you. With your current power, you can easily suppress this calling feeling. You ignore it completely and keep cultivating. Day 58. You feel you've stayed in the lake for far too long and resolve to leave without telling your subordinate, the old turtle. You leave the lake, leave the forest, and head for the human cities. Day 60. You arrive near a large human city. You find the human city has not been attacked. This confuses you. According to the Kunlun demon order, all cultivating demons must launch attacks on human cities. Just as you're feeling confused, a human suddenly appears, holding a broadsword and attacking you. You are ambushed, but the human's attack is far too weak. It can't even break your scales. You glare at the human, confused. The human, unable to break your scales. takes out a scroll painting and unfurls it. A flash of golden light streaks out and suppresses you. You die. This simulation ends. Please choose one of the following 4 rewards. 60 days of survival experience, 60 days of physical refinement, dragon kidney of a dying flood dragon, unknown painting. How did I die just like that? Jijung was dumbfounded. I get to a human city, find nothing at all. Then a human slashes at me once, and I die before I can even react. Golden light shot out of that painting, and that's how I died. Jijung stared intently at the words on the screen. Then at the last of the 4 rewards, the unknown painting. This painting, it's the very one that one-shot me at the end, and this thing's actually a reward. Jijung felt a twinge of fear. Even though he died an unexplainable death this time, he knew this portrait could kill him, and it would be effortless for it to do so. Should he choose it or not? Nah, just pick it. If he picks it, he can just open the portrait in the simulation. What danger could there be in opening it? It'll all just happen in the simulation anyway. With that thought, Jijung chose the 4th reward right away. The unknown portrait. A 4th reward option like this hardly ever pops up, but every single time it does, it's something good. If he had any other choice, Chusho would never give this up. As soon as Jijung made his choice, a scroll appeared out of thin air. The scroll fell into the water, yet it didn't get wet at all. Weird stuff. At the bottom of the lake, Jijung stared at the scroll floating in front of him. The scroll looked tiny beyond belief next to his massive body. Even one of his sharp fangs was bigger than it. But this tiny little scroll could blast him to death with ease. Jijung had seen it crystal clear in the simulation. The second he opened the scroll, it would kill him instantly. So as Jijung looked at the scroll, he didn't have the slightest urge to open it. If he was going to open it, it'd only be in the simulation. He could use a simulation chance later to see what the hell was inside this scroll. He had a question on his mind, though. Why did he die so quickly every single time he simulated? He wasn't even weak. It feels like every time I simulate, it's like I'm playing in the ranked grand finals. That Thunderbird freak. That little golden crow thing to the east. And now this scroll. Jijung fell silent. Every single time he played, he barely ever ran into weak opponents in these grand finals. Take that 9-tailed fox, for example. It's a demon with nearly 2,000 years of cultivation, too. What kind of luck is this? Luck that only gets me into the grand finals. He thought that on the eve of the spiritual energy revival, even in the early days, most demons would still be pretty weak. Only a tiny handful would be strong. Yet he just had to run into that tiny handful. What rotten luck. Jijung shook his huge, scorched head and stopped thinking about it. He refused to believe it, that he'd get put into the grand finals every single time. Anyway, he was playing it safe in the real world, that's all that mattered. Even if he got into the grand finals in the simulation, it couldn't threaten his life. First things first. Let's see what's inside this scroll. It can kill me instantly. Who the hell is painted on it? Some big shot. Jijung looked at the scroll floating in front of him, filled with intense curiosity. He was ready to start the simulation. He used some simulation points to peek inside the scroll. He wasn't the least bit tired. Activate simulation. In front of Jijung, a screen that only he could see materialized. Simulation activated. 4 simulation points consumed. Current remaining simulation points, 22. Day 1. You are in the middle of the lake. You stare at the scroll in front of you. You hesitate for a long time and open it. The second you open the scroll, a flash of golden light streaks out and suppresses you. You are dead. This simulation ends here. Please choose one of the following 3 options. 1 day of survival experience. 1 day of physical enhancement. Boiled dragon meat. Did that even last 3 seconds? Gone in an instant. Jijung was so scared he twisted his huge body and backed away a distance, staring at the scroll with fear. Damn, he was actually gonna check it out. Never thought opening the scroll would kill him instantly just like that. This thing is way too brutal. It has aura tracking built in. It just slaughters any demon it senses. Choose the first option, survival experience. Jizo had to find out how exactly he got killed in those few seconds. As soon as he made his choice, a memory-like stream of information surged into his mind. Jijun saw it all clearly at once. How he died in the simulation? The second he opened the scroll, an aura that filled him with terror emanated from within. This aura came from the soul, and even more so from his bloodline. It seemed that the person painted in this scroll had once slain a flood dragon. If he dared to guess, this person might have even slain a true dragon. But Ji Jung never got to see what was actually painted on the scroll. In this memory, he'd just opened the scroll when a beam of golden light shot him dead. Even just receiving the memory of that aura, Ji Jung still felt his heart pounding with fear. That feeling of being on the brink of death non-stop is awful. What the hell is painted inside this scroll? No way, no matter how many simulation points it cost today, he was gonna find out. What exactly was painted in this scroll? Fury blazed in Ji Jung's huge eyes as he stared at the scroll not far away. This fury wasn't something he could control. It was the fury born from bloodline hatred. Shusho made up his mind and activated the simulation again. Simulation activated. 4 simulation points consumed. Current remaining simulation points 18. Day 1. You are in the middle of the lake. You stare at the scroll in front of you. You hesitate for a long time and open it. The second you open the scroll, a beam of golden light shoots toward you, seeking to suppress you. You ignore it completely and stare straight at the scroll, trying to catch a glimpse of what's on it. But in less than a breath, you lose all signs of life. You are dead. Options: 1 day of survival experience. 1 day of physical enhancement, braised dragon meat and broth. Sure enough, dead in a few seconds again. But this time he'd purposely tried to peek at what's in the scroll. He must have gotten something out of it, right? Choose survival experience. Kyusho made his choice in a flash. The next moment, the familiar stream of memory surfaced in his mind. This time, the memory actually showed him what was painted in the scroll. It was a human figure. A figure wearing an official's robe. With a solemn face. The second he saw this figure, 4 words surged into Ji Jung's heart. Unyielding integrity. Kyusho had no idea why. Those 4 words popped into his head. But the moment he saw the portrait, those were the words that came to mind. Next to the portrait, 2 Chinese characters were written. Wei Zheng, Wei Zheng. Ji Jung suddenly realized everything. Why he felt such bloodline hatred for this portrait. It's Wei Zheng! This guy, that explains it all. In Ji Jung's mind, a mythological story he'd read in his past life came flooding back. It said that during the Zhenguan era, there was a terrible drought for years on end. The land cracked and dried up for thousands of miles. The common people prayed for rain, but none came. Later, a geomancer divined that it would rain the next day. He even calculated the exact amount of rain. When the Dragon King in charge of rainfall heard this, he naturally didn't believe it. So he went to find the geomancer and bet him that it wouldn't rain the next day. But after the Dragon King went back, he checked the rain register and found that it really was going to rain the next day. Unwilling to admit defeat, the Dragon King altered the rainfall rules and was later discovered by the Heavenly Emperor, who ordered his execution by beheading and commanded Wei Zheng to carry it out. The Dragon King was terrified. So he went to Emperor Taizong of Tang to beg for mercy, asking him to delay the execution. If Wei Zheng missed the execution time, the Dragon King would live. Emperor Taizong agreed. He summoned Wei Zheng to the palace for a game of chess on the execution day, but he never expected Wei Zheng to see it coming. Wei Zheng went to slay the dragon in his dream. This is the famous story of Wei Zheng slaying the dragon in a dream. This story is true. Wei Zheng really slew a dragon. That's why he's enemies with the Dragon Clan. Ji Jung fell into thought. But what confused him was how a scroll could have such power. Could it be that after the spiritual energy revived, humans got no blessings from it, but our ancestors did? They can protect humans now? This scroll is insanely powerful. So powerful he had no idea what to do with it. Wait a minute. Maybe he could borrow this scroll for a bit. Ji Jung twisted his huge flood dragon head and looked at the scroll beside him. This scroll can't only work on me, right? It should work on those monsters too. I wonder which is stronger, this scroll or that damn bird. If I run into that bird in the simulation and hurl the scroll at it, who would win? Ji Jung had a bold idea. The scroll floated quietly at the bottom of the lake, untouched by the water despite being submerged. It was clearly no ordinary object. Not far from the scroll, a black flood dragon, lord of all he surveyed, coiled there, staring down at the scroll. It was Ji Jung. As Ji Jung looked at the scroll, a bold idea sprang to mind. He had a plan. He could finally deal with that damn bird in the simulation. Use the scroll against it. Set a tiger to devour a wolf. If he could take care of that bird, he could survive much longer in the simulation. It was worth a try. Worst case, he'd only lose 4 simulation points. If he could live longer in the simulation, he might even get some other treasures. Ji Jung felt a little excited. He'd finally found a way out. Start the simulation. Kizan gave it a go. Wondering what would happen after breaking the deadlock, he looked up at the scene before him. filled with anticipation. Simulation activated. 4 simulation points consumed. 14 simulation points remaining. Day 1. You are in the lake. Staring at the scroll in front of you, you choose not to open it, leaving it lying beside you. Day 2. You continue resting in the lake, trying to temper your body with the lake's scorching heat. But you find that the heat's effect on your cultivation has become negligible. Day 5. You learn the ancient tree's fruit is about to ripen and send your subordinate, the old turtle, to seize it. Day 26. You keep cultivating in the lake, but with little progress. Day 39. You still persist in cultivating in the lake, yet make no headway. Day 48. You continue your cultivation in the lake, feeling something different in the water and air after inhaling the lake water and air. Day 56. Chaos erupts in the forest. You send the old turtle to quell it.
Day 57. You're cultivating in the lake when
You suddenly feel a summoning pull from the sky. Your heart and Tao are clear and firm, easily suppressing the summoning with your unwavering Tao heart. You keep cultivating. Day 69. You continue cultivating in the lake. But at the lake's shore, a 9-tailed fox comes to find you. You emerge to meet it. The 9-tailed fox is about to speak when you cut it off, launching an attack without hesitation. You easily subdue the 9-tailed fox with your flood dragon power. The 9-tailed fox is terrified, trying to flee, but you coil your tail around it and drag it into the lake. You slay and devour it in the lake. The lake quickly calms down again. You resume your cultivation. Day 70. You keep cultivating in the lake. Day 74. You're cultivating in the lake when the heavens and earth suddenly shake. In the next moment, an even stronger summoning pull comes from the sky. This summoning is far more intense, but you're not the same as before. You could easily suppress it now. But you don't. You grasp the scroll in your claw and fly up into the sky, following the pull. What you see is a familiar sight. A towering pillar-like giant structure holds up the sky, like a pillar of heaven. You know this sight well, yet it still fills you with immense awe. As you're lost in wonder, an extreme sense of danger washes over you. You turn to look, and a massive shadow blots out the sun as it flies toward you. You don't hesitate for a second, hurling the scroll at the shadow. The shadow flies past, struck by the scroll. The scroll unfurls, and bursts of brilliant golden light flash forth. The golden light slams into the shadow. The colossal shadow lets out a shrill cry and reveals its true form. It's a huge golden bird. Its body is massive, and a single wing spread can cover the entire sky. You feel an intense sense of danger emanating from the golden bird. You're about to retreat temporarily, fleeing back to the lake to hide, when the golden bird quickly breaks free from the scroll's light. The scroll closes up again and plummets down. You coil it up with your tail, finding it badly damaged and tattered. You guess the scroll won't have many uses left before it's completely useless. It worked. Set a tiger to devour a wolf. I successfully drove that damn bird away. Ji Zheng was over the moon. That bird had killed him so many times before. Even though he didn't do it directly this time, he was the one who threw the scroll, so it basically counts as his win. But that bird is way too powerful. The scroll struck first, yet the bird took the hit head-on and didn't die. It was probably just injured and didn't want to keep fighting, so it fled. Otherwise, the scroll would have no chance against it. That bird is insanely strong. Ji Zheng was acutely aware of how powerful the bird was. It took all those golden light blasts from the scroll and only got injured. He knew full well that a single touch from those blasts would kill him instantly. The gap in their strength was just too huge. Ji Zheng kept watching the simulation, curious to see what would happen next. What exactly is that pillar of heaven? He glanced at the witch. You pick up the scroll and look up at the sky again, only to find the towering pillar of heaven is gone. Not a trace of it left. It was as if it never existed at all. With no other choice, you fly back to the lake? It's gone? How is that possible? Ji Zheng's scarlet flood dragon eyes widened in shock. Day 75, you return to the lake and continue cultivating, still making little progress. Day 80, your subordinate, the old turtle, comes to you and reports that chaos has broken out again in Yankee Forest, with many cultivating monsters appearing, trying to seize control of the forest. You order the old turtle to handle it fully and restore order to the forest. Day 81, the old turtle comes back to report again that There are too many cultivating monsters in the forest, and it can no longer keep them under control. You say nothing, just staring silently at the old turtle. Under your gaze, the old turtle scampers away in fear, vowing to sort everything out. Day 82. You're cultivating in the lake when you hear the forest growing noisy. You have no choice but to go check it out. You find that in the forest, many monsters with 100 years of cultivation have appeared out of nowhere. After investigating, you discover it's because you injured the golden bird with the scroll, and its blood spilled down to the forest, allowing these animals to step onto the path of cultivation and gain 100 years of cultivation overnight. On day 83, you notice the forest falling into chaos. You act at once. With the power of a flood dragon, you strike down the monsters stirring up trouble in the forest. Under your overwhelming aura, the whole forest calms down again. On day 84, you keep cultivating in the lake. But with little progress, on day 85, the forest descends into chaos once more, interrupting your cultivation. You wonder why your subordinate, the old turtle, can't handle it. You have no choice but to leave the lake in person. The moment you show up, a towering black shadow waits to incinerate you on the spot. Jizeng, that sneaky bastard. You and I at the lake bottom. Jizeng lurks there in silence. He never thought the mangy bird would be this underhanded, stirring up chaos in the forest, then lying in wait to peck him to death when he comes out. This mangy bird, does it know he was the one who threw the scroll before? This bird is such a schemer. In the simulation, I was in the lake and didn't sense the bird's presence at all. It must have hidden its aura on purpose. Is this thing actually this smart? Jizeng really wants to complain. He never expected this mangy bird to be so intelligent. What kind of creature even is this bird? Jizeng thinks back to the clues from the simulation. A golden giant bird. The golden winged roc. Could it really be that thing? Jizeng isn't sure. He's never even seen a golden winged roc after all. But he has a strong feeling it might be one. The fabled golden winged roc feeds on dragons, with the power to subdue dragons. It can devour a dragon king and 500 young dragons in a single day. Its terror speaks for itself. If this really is a golden winged roc, then it makes perfect sense why it's been targeting him. A flood dragon. Still just a flood dragon for now. But it's the final stage before becoming a true dragon. Maybe it can't find any real dragons, so it's come for him instead. If it really is a golden winged roc, unless he becomes a true dragon, with just his flood dragon body, he's no match for it at all. Jizeng's heart is burning, with the urge to become a true dragon. In the simulations, he's only ever encountered the most terrifying beings. Without becoming a dragon, he has no chance against them. Time to choose a reward. Jizeng pushes all his thoughts aside and looks at the blue screen in front of him. Please choose one of the following 3 options. 85 days of survival experience. 85 days of physical refinement. Flood dragon meets Zongzi. When he sees the third option, Jizeng suddenly has the urge to drag the system out and bite it to death. He'd ignored all the weird ones before. Is it having too much fun with this? Making a damn menu now. In the end, Jizeng has no choice but to ignore it. He hesitates for a moment at the second option. The first one seems useless to him anyway, other than getting a look at the mangy bird's appearance. It has basically no other use. So Jizeng chooses the second option. Total cultivation, 3,000 years. Dragon transformation reward issued. Jizeng feels a warm current surge through his body once more, strengthening him from within. Moments later, the warm current fades. Another screen appears. Current cultivation, 2,599 years. 2,599 years, still a long way from 3,000. Jizeng knows full well. The further he goes, the harder cultivation gets. Next up, focus all efforts on cultivation. Must become a dragon. Determination fills Jizeng's dragon eyes, but he's not sure where to take the simulations next. What direction to go? Staying in the forest? The results have already spoken. Even if he drives the mangy bird away, he'll still end up killed by that eagle or the bird in the end. Besides, staying in the forest, he's unlikely to get any lucky encounters, unless he just lays low, hides out in the forest for years. Then the simulations would surely show some progress in his cultivation, but that's basically impossible. Even when Jizeng lays low, he's never survived past day 100 in a simulation. He can lay low in reality, but simulations demand taking risks. Only risk brings the chance of finding treasures. Only then can he become a dragon fast. Jizeng falls into thought. If he's going to take risks, which way should he go? Human cities. No way. Who knows what power humans wield? After the spiritual energy revival, besides the portrait won't attack humans, that sun in the east would probably burn him to ashes anyway. So only 2 directions left, north or west. Jijeng thinks long and hard and decides to head west. He hasn't forgotten about the Kunlun Demon Edict issued by Kunlun Mountain's Heavenly Lake. Kunlun Mountain is to the west. Maybe he can go find it. If there's any treasure there, maybe he'll get lucky and find it. Jijeng has no intention of simulating right now. He's simulated way too many times today. He's worn out himself. He plans to rest for a while and continue simulating tomorrow. For this rest period, Jijeng has no plans to go out. There's nothing in the forest worth his while. After a moment's thought, he calls the old turtle over from the next lake. Hearing Jizheng's call, the old turtle doesn't hesitate and enters the lake. But the moment it steps in, it immediately looks extremely uncomfortable. What is your command, Dragon Lord? Dragon Lord, it's too hot here. This old turtle can't stay long. If I stay a little longer, I'll probably be boiled alive. The old turtle says in agony. Jijeng, lurking at the lake bottom, stares at the old turtle. The lake's too hot. It'll boil a 1,000-year-old turtle alive. Some things never change with this old turtle. Still the same as ever. Always running his mouth. This lake's temperature rose because of a treasure, but staying here long-term speeds up cultivation. It's no exaggeration to say it makes progress by leaps and bounds. I originally planned to let you cultivate here, but since you say so, then leave. Go back to the other side. Jijeng lets out a low roar. Not worried the old turtle won't understand. Dragon Lord, I suddenly don't feel hot anymore. Thank you, Dragon Lord. Thank you for this gift, thank you. The old turtle immediately changes its tune. Go cultivate, and remember to keep the next lake in order. Jijeng doesn't bother wasting more words on the old turtle. Yes, yes, yes. The old turtle says yes 3 times in a row, then scurries off to a corner of the lake. Jijeng watches the old turtle's retreating figure. This big turtle knows how to bend and stretch. This old turtle is quite a character. Jijeng stops thinking about it, closes his dragon eyes, and dozes off. Nothing recharges the body like a good doze. In a small corner of the lake, after the old turtle tries cultivating for a bit, it quickly realizes the immense benefits of cultivating in this lake. It's astonished by how fast its cultivation progresses. This lake is undoubtedly a cultivation paradise. And yet this cultivation paradise, the Dragon Lord actually let it in to cultivate here. The old turtle looks up towards the colossal flood dragon, lurking not far away. This Dragon Lord is a strange one indeed. He subdued me not long ago, yet he knows my temperament like the back of his hand, manipulates it perfectly. And he's even willing to nurture me, sharing this cultivation paradise with me. I must not let the Dragon Lord down. Little golden lights flickered in the old turtle's eyes. After 1,000 years of cultivation, hardly any beast even bothered to look at him. Just because he was just a turtle, and it was precisely for this reason that his survival-focused mind worked so well. Jizheng was the only one who ever truly saw him, and even entrusted him with great responsibilities, to govern all the aquatic creatures of the lake. Now he even let him cultivate in a sacred cultivation spot. This kindness was enough to make the old turtle die for him. If Jijeng could see the old turtle's loyalty, he'd find that the old turtle's loyalty was skyrocketing at this very moment. 2 daily simulation points awarded at the lake bottom, 16 simulation points remaining. When the system's notification tone rang out, Jijeng, who'd been dozing off, suddenly opened his blood-red scorching eyes. Beneath the pitch-black lake surface, those blood-red scorching eyes shone like 2 huge lanterns, eerie and terrifying. Another day passed. Jijeng muttered to himself, then the ancient tree's fruit will ripen in 4 days. Spiritual energy will revive in 47 days. Time to start the simulation. Strive to transform into a dragon soon. Become stronger as fast as possible. Kill that damn motley feathered bird soon. Jijeng steeled his resolve. The main direction for this simulation is westward. If I get a chance to find cultivating demons along the way, I can fight them. To boost my combat power, Jijeng knew his own weakness all too well. He had far too little combat experience. The only way to improve was through the simulation. Westward expedition. He glanced at the old turtle cultivating not far away, and activated the simulation. Simulation activated, 4 simulation points consumed, 12 simulation points remaining. Day 1, you are in the lake. Knowing you must leave, you temporarily set aside your survival instincts. You look at your subordinate, the old turtle, and call him over. You instruct your subordinate, the old turtle, telling him that in 4 days, He is to lead the lake's aquatic creatures to seize the ancient tree's fruit, and to take charge of the lake in your absence. After speaking, you give your subordinate, the old turtle, no chance to reply, and leave the lake. Look at that. That's real resolve. Saying what you mean and not hesitating, Jijung thought to himself in admiration. This is the way to do it. Not giving the old turtle a chance to talk. With the old turtle's skills, if he'd had the chance to speak, he definitely would have talked me into staying a few more days. But I can only do this kind of thing in the simulation. I'd never dare do it in real life. In real life, I know I still have to put survival first. Play it safe above all else. The simulation continues. Day 2, you leave the lake. Heading west. Knowing you can't reveal your whereabouts for now, especially not to humans, you unleash your innate ability to summon wind and rain. A violent storm rages wherever you go, hiding your figure in the process. Day 3, you continue heading west. With the violent storm still raging around you. Day 7, you keep moving west and stop by a vast lake along the way. You sense the aura of cultivating demons within the lake.